Hello, my name is Derek Nelsen. I'm the upcoming debut author of Norse lore. Just recently, I thought I would engage the people on my mailing list, so I thought I would put together a nice pumpkin carving competition. It is October 26th, 2018, and this is my first annual try at this. So certainly I owe you a pumpkin. So my inspiration for this is that in my upcoming novel, Norse lore, there is a moment where there is a troll's head, a disembodied troll's head. So when I saw one of these pumpkins, I thought I could try to carve Svikar, which is the name of the troll who lost his head. So what I'm going to try to do now is take this pumpkin and turn it into what I think Svikar should look like, and I recommend you give it a shot. Do what you can, and I've got two knives here. If you've never carved a pumpkin before, enjoy the show. I'm going to turn some music on. This is my dog Anya, and I'm sure she'll be visiting every now and again, but let's see what we can do with this old pumpkin. Okay, Alexa, play. This music in the background is from Adrian von Ziegler, which is kind of like mood music for me when I'm writing in the Norse mythology genre. I think I'm going to try to use that as the nose. Don't you think? I think that's a good idea. Looks like a troll's nose to me, certainly the way I see it. So let's try to turn this thing on its side and see what we can create here. First thing you got to do with any good pumpkin is take off its cap. Got to gut this thing. Find out where the soul is. Find the soul inside of this troll. I'm keying my opening so that I can find it again, and when I put his hat back on later, it'll only fit one way. So I'm going to give it a triangular key and another one, maybe a square key over here. It'll only fit one way when I'm done. I like talking to this camera. This is a first time for me as a writer, talking to a camera, but I'm going to try to, maybe I will try to channel my inner Bob Ross. What do you think? I think that if you're doing a pumpkin this year, which I hope you are, that you too can channel your inner Bob Ross. Make the world a nicer place, wouldn't it? Okay, let's see what we got inside here. Oh yeah, she's a beauty. So I got my sharp knife, and now I'm going to shave this thing. What I didn't bring was a spoon. Let me pause this video and go get a spoon. Okay, now I've got my head in it a little bit. The tools I'm using today is a spoon to get the guts out of this thing, take the brains out of this thing, and I've got a kitchen knife. I've got a smaller one too to do the details, and I think that's all you need. Usually I like a metal knife, but this plastic one will be just fine. Excuse me, I've always stuck my tongue out when I'm working. I'm the only one who can't see it. But I'm going to carve this thing up and enjoy a little Adrian von Ziegler. If I stick my tongue out, I apologize. It's nothing personal. I think that's what Svikar would do anyway. He's got kind of a sharp fork tongue. And if I make ugly faces, that will also be in the spirit of this thing. All right, first gut down. It's kind of good Halloween music, to be honest with you. It never occurred to me. All right. We've got the lid. Okay. Let's see what we can do with the inside of this thing. Sharp knife. Woo. Alexa, next song. Let's not do the tinging, huh? That's a little too much for me. Let's see if we can get in some Viking attack music. Something my son would enjoy in a video game. That's a little better. Let's see what we got here. Ooh, that's the good stuff right there. That's the good stuff. Excuse the trash can. Ooh, lovely. We're going to be doing this a couple more times with the kids. They're out of the house right now, and I really need to get this video done. They'll be making their own troll heads as well. And we will save those pumpkin seeds for roasting later. We don't get we don't do any special recipes or anything, just basically salt and heat. Bake them for a little bit of time and try to dry them out. Basically like potato chips. We're getting somewhere now. Gotta do a little more scraping here. You gotta have it thin enough. If it's too thick, it'll just mold out. If it's too thin, it'll rot too fast. It's a bad it's a kind of got to find that happy medium. But you definitely got to scrape all this wet stuff off. Get into the good meat. Like an old Viking trick. They say I think it's kind of just a kind of stories. They say you should take their enemies' skulls and make drinking horns out of them. I think that'd be pretty cool to see, as long as you're on the winning team. So maybe we'll just assume that old Svikar here didn't play nice with the Vikings, and they decided to drink out of his skull. Never turned a pumpkin on its side before. This is new. Getting somewhere. You see that? Getting pretty good. I'll probably clean it out a little bit more later, but right now I think that's pretty good. Now remember, that's going to be the top of the head. And the lid is going to go on like this. And that ought to be the front. So let's try to figure this thing out. How's the face going to work, huh? It's a little bit short for the mouth, but I think we can work it out. First things first, I think his eyes. So, he's a smelly troll, right? So, if I'm not mistaken, his eyes kind of bug out of his head. How do you make that with a pumpkin? I don't know. I think they're going to be big eyes, all right? Maybe I can work like this, where you can see it too. Yeah, that'll work. All right. Let's see. I don't want to turn my back to you, so this is as good as I can do. Let's see if I can get a big eye. My writing area. I think I'm going to give him heavy brows. The beauty of a troll, he kind of fits in the pumpkin thing. Meaning you don't have to really do it right. There's no wrong. He's got to be ugly. That's for sure. He's got to be ugly. And give him a heavy brow here. Kind of a mean looking brow. I got a small knife, a small little paring knife, to do most of the fine cuts. But I got this big one with teeth to get a little more harder cut. And I think actually they sell nice little kits with nice little knives for carving nowadays for kids, and they're a lot safer. I think that's probably the way to go. But right now, that's not the way we're doing this. Let's see about this brow. I'm going to go with give him a little some personality. Without eyebrows, you got no personality. I know. I was born with blonde eyebrows. So I think if I'm going to get a little personality, I got to kind of really go for it. Maybe I'll leave them in there. I like that. It's a little bit of a little character. Now make sure when you're cutting your pumpkins that you make sure that the hole goes all the way through. A real easy thing to do is to forget and make the inside really narrow where the outside is big. You got to make sure that you get the entire cut all the way through where the light won't shine through when you turn the lights on. We're definitely going to be putting a candle inside of this thing, or maybe modern day they have these fake candles. I may do some of that too. All right, let's not mess up the eyeballs. It's pretty important. So he's going to have like googly eyes if I could do that. Certainly big bulgy eyes. I guess that's round. What choice have we got, right? So let's see if I can do that. All the trolls that I've ever seen, and I guess I could have brought my mom's troll. My family is Norwegian, and my mom has got this killer old troll from Norway on the mantle, and I've got some things from Disney or something like that. It's not the same. So I've got the eyeball cut out. It's going to be big. Let me get the inside of the eye. I want to get a little character there. So make sure I don't cut my finger off. We don't need this to become graphic violence unnecessarily. If anybody's going to bleed, I want it to be the troll, not the Viking. Good. One eyeball. Pop it out and see what we look like. All right. I think that's going to be a lot of light shine through there. Pretty good. So I'm going for like a big googly eye. It's got a little roughage back there, but I kind of like it. Gives it a little life, little hanging meat. Let's see. I like the nose. I like the eye. It's kind of getting witchy, isn't he? Let's see about this eye. The eyes cannot match because the trick to trolls is you can pull the eyes out of their heads. You can take the head off and they'll survive. It's kind of what makes them fun, right? I know I had a lot of fun with it. I mean, there's stories in the old Norwegian folk tales of witches carrying their heads under their arm. And they would come up and they would try to capture little boys by offering them treats and then throw them in the sack and then take them home and cook them for dinner. Somehow I've gotten that in my head that that's okay for trolls too. So in my head I've got the trolls walking around carrying their heads under their arms if necessary. I'm not sure what would make that necessary, but that's what I've got in my head. In this case, Svikar lost his head the old-fashioned way by a Viking sword. And I guess if you're going to lose your head, let's do it dramatically, right? Let's make it count. Now this one's going to come in from the side. He's going to Google. This eyeball is more interested in what's going on with the nose. Even Svikar is wondering, what is the deal with trolls having these big noses? They're ugly, that's the problem. If I can get the eyes, I think the rest of this is going to work out. Whoa, there it goes. Eyeball number 2. Yeah, I like that. I like the fact that old Svik's got one eyeball that's more interested in looking at his nose, and the other eyeball is interested in looking through to your soul. Now the thing about trolls, at least the trolls in my world, is they can smell you coming. You can't hide from things in the underworld. They can smell everything about you. So you can't just easily hide from a troll. I think this one's going to take the big knife. What kind of smile am I going to put? I know I said he had gap teeth. He's got to have gap teeth. It's going to have to be a narrow smile. He's got a forked tongue, but I'm not going to try that. If I do, maybe I'll stick something out of his tongue. I think I'm going to go wide. This guy's got a design. He's got a natural wide smile. Let's see what we can pull off here. And for a second, I can't get too groovy with it. Maybe I'll come out really wide with this first one. Little crooked teeth. Boxed off teeth. I don't think they're going to have sharp teeth. That's not the way. He's not a vampire. He's not a vampire. He's kind of goofy, scary. Scary because he's an oaf. He's going to be over 8 feet tall. Maybe 9, maybe 12. Trolls and giants are they're related in Norse culture. So let me give some gaps and some different heights. He's broken a lot of his teeth out over the years. They don't have dentists down there. They haven't gone to visit Hermie, which is the elf dentist from Rudolph. If you haven't seen it, I recommend you see Rudolph this Christmas. But back on to Halloween. I'll cut a couple teeth in here. It's always the return trip that's tough. If you're making a pumpkin, cutting the first run of teeth is easy. Making it back home again with the whole face intact is the hard part. I think I'm going to go wider. This whole head is going to... Now, the thing about wide teeth, I've been doing this my whole life, right? So, the thing about wide teeth is this face will collapse on itself. When it starts to rot, it will collapse a lot easier. So if you don't leave a lot of pumpkin in here, in the very face, when it starts to rot, it will collapse on itself. So you kind of want to be, you want to be smart about the way you do this thing. I really don't care. Halloween's like within 4 days. I'm not terribly concerned about losing old Svik here to rot and decay. As a matter of fact, trolls should rot and decay. That's the idea. Mold in their clothing. Their clothes ought to be a patchwork of the clothing of their victims. So trolls like to eat bears and they like to eat squirrels. They'll eat pretty much anything. They're not looking for men or anything. But if they were to find a man with nice clothing, they might actually try to steal some of his clothes and stitch it into there. So I see these guys as wearing coonskin hat with squirrel. It's never going to be big enough, the animals. If even a bear skin coat's going to have to be supplemented with something. So I don't expect old Svik here would ever have a pure coat. It's not like they're out there. I don't think that the troll women were out there making coats. I think they're more scavengers. There's the first bite, right? It's really not that bad. It's kind of like an apple, only not as sweet. I don't know why I've really never done that before. I don't recommend it. I'm not really saying you shouldn't try it. Give it a shot. Could have been worse. Let's see what I just did. So the return trip is where you find out what these teeth finally look like. I just made the return trip. Let's see what I got left. That's the key. Did I make enough? You got to have a little bit of These teeth have got to come out because you got to have a place for the light to come out. Maybe if I'd have smarted and made a smile that said Svik, and then the light would have shined onto the ground, it would have spelled out Svik. My brother's an artist. I'll talk to him about doing that for me. We generally get together and we have a pumpkin carving party, but that hasn't been set up yet. So right now I'm just pushing the teeth to the middle, making sure my hands aren't on the other side of that thing, and we're going to find out what Svik's smile looks like. It ought to look more like it needs braces than my children, who I paid someone to fix their teeth, even though they're not that bad. I'm not exactly sure why we do it. I think we've all fallen into this trap of thinking people need braces because the standards have been set so high. All right. Hey, that's pretty good. His teeth are all crooked. They're all tied together. I'm starting to like that smile, right? It's some places it's touching. I kind of like that because it's going to bridge that gap there to where when this head caves in, it won't totally give way. Those teeth will help sustain it, hold it up. Am I going to take these eyebrows out, or am I going to leave them in partially? I don't know. If you're seeing this, you tell me. Later on tonight, I'm going to light this thing up, and I'm going to see what it looks like in the dark. And then maybe you can give me a little more feedback on what you think. I kind of like this. It's like a hairpiece. Maybe that's the way to go. Maybe cutting them sideways is the trick. I don't know. I haven't tried it before. Now I know there's a lot of people on the internet do beautiful work with pumpkins. They put pumpkins inside of pumpkins' heads. They shave the top. They make it white. I'm kind of old school. I just cut the pumpkin and we just see what we got when we put the light in it. I recommend you do the same thing. If you're a real artist, carve your pumpkin. Show me what you got. Post it on my website. Send me an email. It's Derek, D-E-R-E-K, at DerekNelsen.com. That's DerekNelsen.com. En.com. And email me the picture. I'll put it on the website. Okay? And if you want to read about the contest I've got going on, check out the website. It's DerekNelsen.com. And on the main menus over to the right side, you'll see Pumpkin Carving Contest. Send me a picture. I'd love to post it on my website. Maybe you'll be famous one day. All right. Hey, thanks a lot. We'll talk to you later. This is Derek signing off.